my attention and um, you'll get my attention and then I'll try and answer that. But I will try and be as brief as possible and to the point so that the guys don't get bored. Um, and yeah, look, I mean, the the biggest thing with the game of rugby nowadays is the ARing. Um, you'll hear many teams complain that why aren't the assistant referees helping, the referee make calls. And it's become such a big focus in URC and in World Rugby, the element of ARing, that everyone needs to know their role on the field. Um, how many times has it happened to you as an AR? At halftime, you go in and have a chat with the ref, and you guys have that awkward discussion of, I just didn't know, if you wanted me to call that, or maybe I shouldn't have called that, etc., etc. After the game, you always had that discussion of, was that the right call to give? Um, and gents, that simply boils down to the fact of role clarity. If everyone knows their role and what to do um, on the day, it eliminates a lot of that uneasiness and awkward conversations after. Um, and it also eliminates the fact that coaches will have many questions after the game. Um, and I don't know if Blake is on this call, but he knows exactly how we operate at URC and at Currie Cup level. So I'm just going to go through the AR role and what is expected of the guys when ARing. Obviously, the TMO part is not applicable, but there are some instances where clips are shown and it will be applicable for ARing in terms of foul play. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, we can.
And it's okay. Can you guys see it as a slideshow? There we go. Right. Okay, if we start at the tackle, um, obviously that's the part where the referee has, most of the control during the game. So as an AR, you don't necessarily want to come in there, unless, you are the near side AR and the referee has clearly missed, a side entry or a takeout where it has a massive impact on the game. You obviously don't want to referee the breakdown for the referee as an AR, so you try and keep it as minimal as possible. Basically, what we want there, the referee has to be, tackled and, face planted on the ground. That's when you'll come in as an AR with a call of a side entry or a massive hands in where it's on the blind side and the referee has totally missed it. Um, that's where as a referee, you'd expect an AR to come in. Um, where you obviously are expected is, the dangerous cleanouts, the foul play, and to clarify numbers. Um, and the far side assistant, obviously, you look at the takeouts beyond the breakdown. Um, and then obviously you have your pillars. That's the referee's duty to always check that the pillars are onside. The referee needs to work really, really hard on pushing those pillars back so that there's clear space and it makes the job of the assistant referee that much easier. Um, let's go through some of the clips and see what we're talking about. So on that one, you can clearly see that the AR has come in for something which the referee has missed. There will be a replay.
Holding on and 11 off base. Time off.
Can you guys all hear the audio?
Yes, we can. The video is a bit stop-start, but the audio is clear.
Good evening, mate.
Okay, let's try this one. Just let me know if
And this is Makazole Baptempe, who scored so many tries in his relatively short career for the Springboks. Eldon Yankees puts in a little reverse kick, and the referee comes back for another penalty. So it has been, well,
oh, the clip's still a bit jumpy.
Yes,
Come on.
it is a bit
Is
jumpy.
it? Gosh. Okay, let's try and play them like this and see. Oh, no, that's not going to work. No, that will not work. I think then my Wi-Fi is a bit sick, like I was a couple of weeks ago. Let's try and continue with the presentation. And then maybe Kamal, I can send this through to you. And when you do have a session with the guys in person, then the clips will be a lot clearer.
All right, perfect.
You happy with that?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Are there any questions on the tackle and ruck and what the referee's looking at, who's looking where, positioning wise, etc.?
Okay, gents, any question for JD at the moment?
Kamal, I know you said we should talk, but can I just ask a verbal question?
Yeah, sure. Quickly.
Obviously, when you're connected with a radio, you know, what you've got under nearest AR and furthest AR makes a lot of sense. But obviously, when there's no radios, and you're trying to decide, I mean, there's obviously you can only flag something that's clearly foul play, right? You can't really communicate things like side entry and off feet and so on if you're not marked up, right?
100%. Eugene, that's a very, very good point. And that's where non-verbal communication comes in terms of hand signals, etc., and eye contact. I actually saw that during the Kersney Festival in one of the games. I think Ross was running touch and there was something that the referee had missed, and immediately they looked up at each other, made eye contact, and quickly gave a signal, and they came to the correct outcome. So those are the one of the tools that you can use if you don't have radios, obviously. But preferably this works very, very well if you have radios, and even better if you have a TMO and you can just chuck everything at him.
Thanks, Eugene. Cameron, you got a question there on the comms at Runtime. Can you ask the question, Cameron?
Hi there, JD. I was just wondering what kind of short communication cues you'd use if there are infringements at ruck time. Because I know in terms of spacing and offsides, an example that the AR would say to the referee would be blue never back onside or blue always offside. Can you just provide some examples that could be used for the ruck?
Okay, so whenever I brief my ARs, if there is a clear infringement at the breakdown, more specifically in terms of, let's say, let's use foul play for example. I want the team that's infringing, so the color, so it'll be, let's say, Sharks will be black, 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 and then I'll bang the penalty. And then thereafter you'll give me the infringement.
Thank you, Cameron. Thanks, JD. Those were all the
Okay.
questions
Okay,
for now.
thank you. That makes sense.
Does it make sense, Cam?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah. There's actually a great clip on the presentation about an AR calling a takeout beyond the breakdown, but obviously with the with the clips not playing so well, it is a bit of an issue. I don't know, maybe we can try it, Kamal, and just listen to the comms.
Sure, of course.
Oh, fine, fine. Harry, so it's a big takeout past the breakdown. Big number 12 goal. Number 12 goal. Penalty against Australia. Penalty against Australia. 12 goal. 12 game. 12 goals, 10 blue, clearly past the breakdown. Was clear enough.
Nice play, Rob Leota. Good carry, just that little bit too far there.
Right, did everyone hear the comms with the team of four clearly saying Australia taking a player beyond the breakdown, and preferably you want that information as quickly as possible so that you can bang that offside, and take away the fact that Australia nearly scored a try and could cause a bit of controversy. We're all happy.
Yo.
Perfect. All right, then moving on to the scrum. Obviously the referee is in charge of the setup and the sequence leading up to, the engage. The near side AR will preferably be standing across the scrum in line with the referee so that they're both looking at, a similar picture in terms of one straight line instead of one standing on the 5. Now you have a different picture altogether. And there you'll see that there's the term management contribution. Basically what we mean by that, if I'm setting up the scrum as the referee and it collapses, and on my side, I don't have a clear infringement. Basically, the contribution that's given by the AR standing on that side will be something along the lines of, okay, JD, I've got no clear infringement on my side. However, the loose head did lose his bind and the tight head did overextend. So now you've given me two possible infringements which happen at the same time, and it's against one of either side. It's not just against one person. If it's against one person, then it would be a different contribution altogether. It would be a case of black, 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 and the referee bangs his whistle for a penalty, and the infringement thereafter would be loose head losing his bind. So it's either or. Two infringements, one from either side, or one infringement from one side. Does that make sense? And then obviously the furthest AR doesn't have much to do but to look at the defensive offside line and the attack. It's no longer just, watching the defense. You have to watch the attack as well. If they come up early and break the 5 before the ball is out of the scrum and clearly gain an unfair advantage, then that's something the referee obviously wants information on. And then when we look at the contest, the referee then watches well, we say we watch the skew feed, but we don't. You watch the feed, and then what happens post the feed in terms of the angles, the collapsing, and the bind, and vice versa. The near side AR will be watching the same thing. And once you have a clear infringement, then once again, you give the information, red, penalty, and then the infringement. Are there any questions on the scrum?
Thanks, JD. There's nothing on the chat group.
Okay, perfect. Gents, don't be afraid to ask any questions. You can ask any of the guys who've run touch for me. I don't, whenever I'm prepping my assistant referees, or I'm being prepped, I don't move on up until everyone is 100% clear on their role. Because if we are not clear on our roles, then that's going to impact the decision making being done on the field. So, guys, if you have any questions, whether it's you feel it's silly or not, please ask.
Okay, JD, we got Daniel, who's a new referee. On the scenario where 2 infringements, do you just reset, or who do you penalize?
So when there's 2 infringements, you reset. Because Daniel, who are you gonna penalize? Are you gonna penalize the not binding or the tight head collapsing? Because remember, all of this happens crouch, bind, set, both they come and hit, and then all of a sudden they fall down. So in that case, we
Okay.
don't want to guess. We'd
No,
much rather
I'm with you. I'm with you.
would much rather have a reset.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, versus where it's clear that the loose head only has lost his bind, then he's meant to be penalized.
Thank you.
Make sense?
Yes, it does. Perfect.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. Eugene, did you have a question as well?
Yeah, I did, and I tried to put on the chat group. Not sure why it didn't come up. So obviously I haven't done much with radios, okay, but so that implies that the ref should always stand open side so that he's got a different view to the nearest AR, right? And then
Yes.
I guess the follow-up question is, again, without comms, would you still expect the nearest AR to stand there because he can't communicate now? He can only give eye signals and small signals. So without comms, would you just go and mark the 5 meters, or would you still want to stand there and try and make those verbal cues?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Eugene. So without comms, I would still want my assistant referee there, right? And before I even set up the scrum, I'll look at my AR and say, Eugene, please watch this side of the scrum for me. Now the players know they're being watched, therefore they won't, want to infringe. And with that, before the game, you and your ARs can obviously work out signals for one another in terms of, if this team infringes, how am I going to signal that for you? I know some of the guys, they tend to, put their hands on the sides, and then when an infringement comes, they'll tap the shoulder that's infringed, just to signal that something went down there, and then the referee takes it from there. Happy?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. And then moving to the lineout, this is where a lot of us in URC have struggled, and gotten it wrong, because there's just so much happening when it comes to line out and line out to maul, who's bound, who isn't bound, etc., etc. It becomes such a gray area in terms of, players binding and then swinging around and then working, and by the time you look, you see, a very tall Eben, um, and he's got his big hands on the ball. So this is where we need to stay sharp. Right. When we look at the setup, the referee once again is in charge of that, and his focus will be on the quick throw. If the ball is still alive and the teams want to play quick, and if not, then the referee sets the gap. He'll make the mark, and the assistant referee on the nearest side will make sure that he's on the mark of touch. And his focus will be on the gap, and the non-receiving hooker in the trams must be 2 by 2 meters. The further side will set up on the 10-meter defensive backline line, and will obviously then scan both backlines, not just the defense, but the attack as well. At the throw, the referee is looking at the balking, the not straight, and the early contact on support players. The near side is also looking at the balking, especially if the referee is standing at the back, and obviously if the players jump a bit early and now his vision is blocked and he then can't see the balking. The near side AR as well will look at the not 5. If the ball didn't travel 5, the not straight, and also the early contact on support players. During the contest, the referee is in charge of the foul play. Nearer side AR will obviously look at what's happening in front more specifically, because you will not be able to see what's happening at the back. And then once again, as usual, the further side AR will be focusing on the onside and never onside players. Right, once once the maul has been set up, or once the ball has been thrown, rather, the referee will look at the illegal formation. So that's the obstruction, the long arm transfer, the preload, etc., etc. And the near side AR will have eyes on the front. We don't particularly want the ARs calling obstruction at the front of the line out. It has to be so clear that you as an AR come in there, because your role as an AR is, to look at the defense and what the defense is doing. The attack setup will always be, focus of the referee. And then when you look at the contest, obviously we usually say, I'll referee my side, and the near side AR, you referee your side. So you're looking at the side entries, the collapse, the obstruction, the swimming, etc., etc. And obviously, for a player to be able to swim, he has to work through the maul and not alongside the maul. And then obviously when we look at the space, the trigger for the ARs will always be the referee's signals. And obviously you've seen us standing on the field looking like traffic officers with both hands in the air. And then once the lineout's over, we'll drop our hands, and then both backlines come up shooting. Are there any questions in terms of lineout and lineout to maul?
Anybody? Chandra had a question there, but I'm answering him on the chat group. He asked, in your opinion, what is a quick line out and when the other team is not ready, but yours is? So I tried to explain to him that there's no quick line out, but there's a quick throw in. The throw in
Yes.
can only take place if it cannot take place if there are two players from each team at that line out in inverted commas, or if the ball has been touched by a spectator or someone who doesn't want to, who cannot take the quick throw in.
Yes. That's the quick throw in. And then I know some teams like to have quick lineouts.
Okay.
So basically, sorry, is there someone
No.
asking a question?
No, sorry, JD in here.
Yes, Amy.
I think the biggest thing for me, when you look at even at professional and amateur level, is the space where the far side AR and the referee, they look at the defensive side, the 10 meters, and not the attacking side. Quite often you'll see that attacking side just dart up and nothing gets done. And that is becoming more of an issue for me personally.
No, 100%, 100% Wameni. And you know, we do have, you know, we do instruct our ARs to be aware of that. And once you see the trigger will always be the number 12 who likes to take it up flat. And if he's gone past the advantage line, before that line out is over, then that means he has clearly broken the 10 and he should be penalized. Marius, who plays for the Lions, inside center, he was a Sharky boy. He likes to take it up pretty flat.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Just to go back quickly to the quick line out. I know some teams like to use that as an exit strategy when they're inside their 22. They'll run, you know, to where the referee's made the mark, and quickly set up so that they can take a quick line out and play it quick and exit the 22. So that's something completely, Chandra, if I'm answering your question, that's something completely different to a quick throw and a quick line out.
Thanks, JD.
Happy. Daniel, you've got a question.
I just wanted to confirm on that quick line out. Is that even allowed, or should both teams be in place to have the line out like Kamal said?
So what most professional teams do, they'll like during the week, they'll let the referee know that, you know, they want to play with tempo. So if possible, can we please, you know, set up the lineouts very, well, not very quickly, but within a time frame where if we're ready, we can go. So in that case, the referee will make the mark and move out of the way, and the attacking team or the team that wants that quick line out, they will show their numbers in time, and they will come and set up very quickly. If the opposition has two numbers in the line out, then tough tacky's on them. But obviously, that's the risk they're willing to take. But as long as the referee has set the line out and made the mark and is happy that if, you know, the setup is correct, then we can play the quick line out.
Okay. And just because of me now being a new ref, I need to ask this. Is this something that needs to be discussed before a game always? If that team wants to do that, does it have to be discussed, or is it something that can happen just throughout the game?
It can happen during the game. However, in most cases, the referee gets caught by surprise and go, no, you know, double blast of the whistle. No, we need to do it again, etc., etc. And then that team, you know, loses that advantage, and then the frustration starts. So if a team wants to do, you know, things like that, then they should communicate it to the referee beforehand so that the referee is aware.
Okay. 100%. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thanks, JD. I
All
see
right.
that we don't have many minutes left, so if you could move on to the next one.
Perfect. I think this is the last slide, Kamal. And
Okay,
then
cool. Perfect. Perfect.
yeah, we're done. All right. Box kicks and players being onside and offside. So with box kicks, the referee will always be in line with the scrum off, and he's looking at the late tackle on the kicker and the kicks, and the players within the 10-meter. And the key focus for the referee will always be the contest in the air. Right, the near side AR, he's looking at the chasing players, which is always the winger. Has the winger put everyone on side? Firstly, that's the first box that you need to tick. If yes, then there's no offside. And then thereafter, your focus is on obstruction. So players looking over their shoulder when they're running, when they're chasing back towards the ball. So therefore, ARs, please remember eyes on the ground and not the ball. Most of the time as an AR, we tend to focus on the ball and we forget about what's happening on the ground level. So guys, eyes on the ground so that you can see those cheap shoulders coming in, guys being taken out, etc., etc. And then the far side AR, obviously chasing players and keeping the mark for the referee. And then with deep kicks, obviously the referee is looking once again at the late tackle on the kicker and managing players that are busy advancing. And then the near side and far side AR, chasing players again. In terms of the wings, have they put everyone on side? And then again, obstruction and the escorting. And very, very important, guys. When there's a penalty kick for touch, please stand on the corner flag if the kick is over, let's say, the 50-meter, the halfway line, or inside the 10. Please stand on the corner and not stand in no man's land so that you can make an accurate decision. And then with the restarts, I see here it says kickoffs, both ARs in line with the kickoff. I'm not a big fan of that. I like to stand deep, maybe inside the 22, because I can then see when the lifters are being taken out by players running, if that makes sense. If you're standing on the halfway line, it's very, very difficult to see those type of infringements. Are there any questions? I see we've got 2 minutes left. So please shoot away.
Yeah, guys, thanks, JD. Guys, can we have one question at least? If there is, we can take one before we don't want to get cut off before we say thank you. Cameron, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to also just maybe remind the guys who might be a bit less experienced with running touch that a lot of these are tertiary roles, and just because maybe you might see something that the ref hasn't seen doesn't necessarily mean that it should be flagged or signaled to the referee. Just thought that should be a reminder.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Cam,
Cameron.
that's a very, very good point.
Okay. Guys, anything else? We got like a minute left before I say thank you to JD. But what I have done, JD, is I've recorded the session, and then if you can send me the presentation, I'll make sure that our guys receive it again and they can watch the videos on their own. But just to say thank you for your time tonight. We know you're a busy man and we're looking forward to seeing you in Durban on Saturday. And yeah, just thank you on behalf of KZN referees. We got about 40 guys on the session tonight. So we're very grateful that we could have someone of your caliber share with us And yeah, we're really grateful that you could give up your time to share with us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, Kamal. And I look forward to a warm Durban. It's pretty cold in Cape Town, so I'm looking forward to going home to Durban. Um, yeah, and it's just a pity that we couldn't have had this session, in person, and with a little bit more time. But there's always time, for another session, and with more planning and more time, I'm sure we can make it happen.
Yeah, but thank you very much, JD. Yeah, we will obviously look at. I know we can have more time for the